today's world, a lot of people are not talking as they are very scared of admitting their issues.
It does take a lot of courage to step up and say, hey, we have a problem.
The topics that we explored are kind of controversial, and everyone that wants to make a difference, or if you want to do something with an impact, you kind of need to be prepared.
The human exhibit, it says it all in the title itself, and it's an exhibition of human beings.
I think one of the biggest key points that I had was to break the stigma, especially in Asian countries like Malaysia, Singapore. We don't talk about all these kinds of things out in the open, so you don't have a safe space for people to talk about things like mental health. I feel depressed. Who do I go to? And you just feel helpless. And for a lot of people to feel helpless, it's just mind-boggling that we don't come together and share with each other about these things. It's funny how we build up all these walls around us to portray that, we're strong, we're independent, but at the same time, we're very, very vulnerable as humans, and it's okay to be like that, and I hope people get to open a bit more about that.
The human exhibit is a great way for people to express themselves. To me, the human exhibit is an exemplary way of bringing people closer to it, and that gives people a sense of belonging to the art.
They are addressing contemporary issues that are very current in society today. It's worthwhile to go to experience it, because I think it can be a real eye-opener. But if you're not, as I said, you're not familiar with it, then it can be taken in a totally different way.
Hi, my name is Dinesha. I am a multidisciplinary storyteller and coach. A lot of my work is about giving people permission to be themselves. I have been writing for all my life and talking for even longer.
Hi, my name is Ian. I'm an artist, simply put. I started off doing music at a very, very young age. Started off performing in music, and just like about 5 years ago, I started doing theater, and I never stopped. My initial idea for the human exhibit was actually literally an exhibition. So like you would go to a gallery to look at paintings and sculptures and installations, and the person stands there and the art piece comes to life.
There was another show that happened this year, in 2019, that was about two women who were caught supposedly having sex, were actually caught by the police, and they were actually caned. Public caning. And so this show, as in response to that caning, and that show got onto the police radar, and the police demanded a viewing, and they turned up and they videoed the whole show. And so there were actual performers who were at risk in that show, and we had friends in that show. So we were already aware of a possible problem.
It came to a point where we knew it couldn't happen. So we both then sat down and spoke about how the show was going to be. And I think through the immense amount of discussion, we came up with this.
Yeah, because Silk and Strings happened in November. The human exhibit Mental Health opened in January.
Yeah.
So the moment Silk finished, we had already started talking. We were bouncing. Could we try this? Could we try this? Could we try this? And we were like, I think until maybe the show opened, we were still tweaking.
Yeah, because a concept like this has never been done, to our knowledge. And I never saw anything like this, especially when it talks about things that are supposed to be talked about.
I think it was because when we started working on Silk and we were working with Befrienders Malaysia, we noticed how this topic of bullying was resonating with people, and it always tied back to mental health. Like even our actors were like, that was the stories that they were telling or trying to tell with these characters. And I think we were both at a point where we were also struggling a little. Mentally, right? Like with our own personal mental health struggles. And so it just made sense to do that first instead of doing like a show on sexuality or gender.
Based on the federal constitution, and if I'm not mistaken, nobody is allowed to discriminate against gender and sexuality and race and religion and all that. But seeing as we live in Malaysia, and the police sometimes kind of have their own rules. They could possibly arrest us under another pretense. For example,
The Security
public
Act,
nuisance or-
public nuisance, indecency, all of those things.
Yeah, so there were a few grounds that if they wanted to play the dirty card, they could have. So that was why it was like scary for us.
I think the main concern was that someone might not like what we're doing, and maybe they might try to stop the show and things like that. So they had already contacted some people on the legal side to clarify what we could do if things don't work out.
When they hear about the human exhibit Sex and Gender, the word sex is just a no-no. So I feel that there was a lot of backlash coming from my own community, my own family, saying that, oh, this is wrong. And whatever you're doing is just wrong. It's just, you can't do this. It is against your beliefs. It is against whatever this country stands for. It is against everything that I was taught when I was younger. So it's something that I had to see and I had to experience when I was doing the human exhibit, because it was hard to swallow whatever they had to say about it, because I thought it was nothing, but apparently it was something big.
To put it simply, if we don't do it, who's going to? And all our performers were aware of this risk, and we told them from the get-go that there are risks involved, but we are doing it as the best we can to protect everyone in the whole entire production, from us to the performers, to the crew, to the audience even. I think when we first started doing the human exhibit specifically, we did not expect the audience to, for lack of a better word, convert their mentality, but we wanted to spark conversations.
I look at it from a representation standpoint, that for some people, it's nice for them to know that there are other people going through what they're going through.
If you want to talk about anything you feel strongly about, and you're afraid to talk about it, on social media or with strangers or in a crowd, start with a place that's safe.
The first thing you need to do is just talk about it. You don't have to publicly announce it to everyone on social media or anything. You just have to talk about it. If you find that the people you talk about aren't responsive, you really have to try to find the right sources.
In all forms, whether it's film, whether it's for a corporate brand or for theater, immersive experience or not, traditional theater is just exploring humanity. What's the heart in every message, and just finding that.